Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Way I See It. I'm going to try to do some episodes that kind of talk about subjects that I don't have to go so in depth on and read so many verses on and talk for 30 minutes on. And this is kind of one of those. And then also later this week I'm going to be getting into some of what I mentioned in my announcement video at Christmas time about the Bible, rethinking the Bible or rethinking Jesus. Some more on that later, but today we're talking about the ecclesia again. I've done a previous video on that, but this is a little bit of a different take on that word. So let's get into it. Thank you so much to all my subscribers. I currently have 121 subscribers, and I'm so thankful for that. Please join me on Locals. Here I will put the graphics for that. Come join my community and we can talk about all kinds of things. I mean, it's called The Way I See It, same as this, show, and I do post a lot of religious content in nature and help people strengthen their biblical worldview there. And I'll obviously post every time I do one of these videos, I link to it there. But you're welcome to post and we can talk about things that aren't religious in nature or tie things to religion that might just be happening in the world today. And also, if you would, please click subscribe right here if you're on the computer, or scroll down on your mobile device and click subscribe and click the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Today I'm talking about the ecclesia. Basically, my point is of this video, different from a previous video which I did, and that was talking about being set apart. This one is talking about the importance of gathering in person. And now you may be like, but Rachel, I am afraid of COVID, or we're not allowed to because of COVID. And what should we do in that case? Well, if you're not a church leader, it's not really up to you. You can't, you can have Bible studies in your home. I would say that's number one. Like, just invite people to have Bible studies, or even to have Bible studies digitally, because at the very least you need to be gathering together with people who know you're there, okay? Let's start at the beginning. Let's start with ecclesia. The word ecclesia is translated into church in the New Testament, but it doesn't mean Kirche, which is the German word referring to a building. Ecclesia refers to a gathering. It is a political assembly of citizens of an ancient Greek state, which I think can apply to basically anything like that, right? The marches that happen in Washington for all the various causes, you can call every single one of those an ecclesia, right? It's some sort of political assembly of citizens. They have a cause, they're going out to march for this or that cause. And also it is a group of people who are just in general called out, like as in into the public square, to assemble together for a purpose. There's many different kinds of ecclesias. They're not all just Christian ecclesias, right? We can have different kinds of ecclesias. So the three scriptures I'm going to read right quick are from Matthew 16:18. This is right after Jesus said, "Who do you say that I am?" And Peter had said, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus says, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, because flesh and blood did not reveal this to you." Like God himself revealed this to you, that you understand who I am. And in verse 18 he says, "And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock," now is Peter the rock? Some say yes, and some say no. Peter is a different word from the word that is used for rock, that you are like a small rock, and on this big rock, which is your statement of belief that I'm the Messiah. I'm not going to get into it, I just want to point that out because some people debate over that. You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my ecclesia, my church. And the gates of Hades, which is just death, this doesn't mean like hell is coming to attack the church, but basically that death will not overcome it, meaning we're part of a communion of saints that extends through time. So we are of one ecclesia with Paul, Peter, all these people who died in the past, Charles Spurgeon, I'm in the same communion of saints with those people, and so are you if you're a Christian. That's the first verse. Next is in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25 and 26. Paul writes, "Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the ecclesia, Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word. Jesus is cleansing us, the church, the ecclesia, and making us holy. The final verse is Hebrews chapter 10, verse 25. Not staying away from our worship meetings, as some habitually do, but encouraging each other, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. Now, these people obviously didn't have the internet, so they couldn't just stay at home and be part of these meetings. They had to go be together. I believe, though, that as humans, we're made to interact and to be together. Like, right, we see people who are locked away in nursing homes and keep everybody out because of COVID. We got to keep them healthy. Well, what happens? Their health goes, and they die sooner, with or without COVID, because they didn't have that interaction that they needed, especially, older family members who have dementia, and they're relying on their kids to come see them every single day or a couple of times a week, and then they don't get that. So we know that we need that interaction. Now you may say, yes, but I'm very health conscious. I'm just tend to be a hypochondriac, or I actually have health risks, and I'm more at risk, for catching any sort of disease that's viral, and I don't want to go out because of COVID. Here's the thing. I think it's perfectly reasonable to be part of Zoom Bible study meetings, or whatever platform you want to use. It doesn't have to be Zoom. I'm not promoting Chinese technology. We just all are using Zoom right now, so I'm saying that. But whatever kind of virtual video chat platform you want to be a part of, to do Bible studies, meet with people in a kind of a small group setting, and share prayer requests. I think it's also reasonable for a pastor to say, okay, if he has a church that's not a mega church, to say, I'm going to do several Zoom meetings throughout the week in groups of like 25 to 50, and that way you can interact with the pastor. You're not just interacting with lay people. You can get your own little bread and wine and set it there, and the pastor can bless it, and everybody can take their bread and their grape juice or their wine and do the Lord's Supper virtually over Zoom. But if you're just watching church on a live stream, you're not in church, because no one can know you're there unless you're doing part of the live chat, and then it feels like you're whispering in church, like passing notes in church, or whispering and the pastor's talking, and you should be paying attention and not talking. But other than that, it's like you may as well, if you're there or not there, nobody knows. You're not part of the assembly. It's no more than me being part of Rick Warren's assembly, and he's at Saddleback in California, and I live in Georgia. I'm not part of his church. Even if I watch every single one of his sermons, on which I've never watched him do a sermon, but if I did, John MacArthur, if I watched every single one of John MacArthur's, I'm not part of his church. I'm not. And if I watch him on live stream, it doesn't make me a part of his church. So that can't be I'm part of church and this is what I do. You got to get some sort of interaction, some sort of prayer, accountability, sharing. And you say, well, I've just never been into really doing Sunday school or small groups. Either you're antisocial or you're too busy. But the difference is, when you would go to church last year, even if you kind of just went and sat at the back, people could see you being there, right? You could interact with people. Maybe it was just a shaking hand, or, peace be with you and also with you. And you were just surrounded by all these other people, and you were all worshiping corporately, even if you were not also in a small group. And now you don't even have that if you're at a church that's not meeting corporately. Praise God, my church is. We also do the live stream because some people are sick and don't want to really come, or they don't want it to overfill the sanctuary, so we all register to go, so we can always be spread out. But there's just something about being there, seeing people, even if you're just seeing, their eyes, and taking the Lord's Supper and singing and hearing the message with the people. That is what it means to be part of the ecclesia, to be part of the assembly, to be assembled, to be called out of your homes into the public square, and to be part of that communion of saints. Again, if you're just watching it on YouTube, you're not communing, right, with other saints, and you're not really in touch with your spiritual history, I guess, of being part of this church that has gone on for, generations. I think it's very important, if you cannot assemble in person at a church right now, you could call your pastor out on that. You could talk to the deacons or the elders and say, look, this is my conviction. Can we figure something out? Even if we're not all meeting together on a Sunday morning, can we figure something out during the week to meet virtually so that people are actually meeting and not just watching it on live stream? Because that is not church. That is not the ecclesia. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Please share this video with your pastor, with anybody you think needs to hear it. And I hope you're encouraged, and I hope you will seek a way to, even if it's just to gather a group of your friends online and say, look, I feel convicted about this. Can we do Bible study together? I think those things are very important. That's what it means to be part of the ecclesia. So thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe, and please leave me a comment. I will respond to comments, and I will talk to y'all next time.
See how great the